EV 2.0, huh? Well, I guess it's true what they say. The Impact Zone fans really will chant anything. But, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about Hardcore Justice, because quite honestly, I feel like I already said my piece on it. And everybody pretty much knows my stance. I don't plan on ordering the pay-per-view, don't plan on watching it. And like I said before, I'm against the idea of an ECW reunion show. You can't build towards your future by constantly going back to the past. ECW died in 2001. It's been redone, rebirthed, rehashed a million times, yada, 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 all that jazz. That's kind of how I feel. I will say this, though. The whole effing show intrigues me. I'm looking at the card for that Impact special, and let's see. It's Rob Van Dam versus Abyss for the World Heavyweight title, which will probably be a wild, hardcore match. I don't have a problem with that. RVD should go over, and I'll explain why in a minute. You got the Pope versus Mr. Anderson versus Matt Morgan. Hell, I'm high on all three of those guys, so yeah, go ahead, showcase them. I don't have a problem with that. And we got AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle in a rankings match, which, A, they have great matches all the time, and B, with all the bad writing in TNA right now, one storyline that I'm kind of digging is Kurt Angle's rise through the rankings, where he goes through all the top 10 contenders one by one. And that'll lead him into Bound for Glory, where hopefully he will face Rob Van Dam for the world title. That's where they should go. We'll see if that's the direction TNA takes. And we have match 5 in the Best of 5 series between Beer Money Inc. and the Motor City Machine Guns for the TNA tag titles, which, quite honestly, I don't think there's a series of matches going on in mainstream wrestling right now that is as good as the matches these two teams are having. They have been tearing it up every week, and they've been the major highlight of Impact every single week. They were the major highlight of the last pay-per-view. And I just kind of feel like, damn, you know what? This card isn't half bad. Why wasn't this the pay-per-view? I would have paid money to see this, especially for the Motor City Machine Guns Beer Money match. It's like, hell yeah, I'll pay money for that. But I guess I should thank TNA for giving it to us for free. I don't know. But, yeah, they were dead set on doing that ECW show, and they won't get my money for that. But I'll be watching on Thursday night to see what they deliver on the whole effing show. And I would have preferred that to be the pay-per-view, because I think commercial breaks and things like that are going to cut into the matches and stuff. And I would have preferred to see that show presented as in the traditional 3-hour pay-per-view format. But what can you do? The show I want, I'm getting for free, so I guess I shouldn't complain. Yeah, let's take a look at the Summerslam card. So that's the card to SummerSlam, huh? You're kidding. Well, I guess that's another pay-per-view I won't be shelling out $45 for. My, oh my. And by the way, I'm not one of these guys who likes to bash on a pay-per-view and then watch it anyway on a stream or by downloading it later, because personally I feel like if the pay-per-view is not worth paying money for, it's probably not worth watching at all. Yeah, just my opinion. But wow. Do I even need to say why this card looks as bad as it does? I mean, we got CM Punk and 2 partners taking on the Big Show in a 3-on-1 handicap match. A match that Punk will almost certainly lose, because it seems like whenever the WWE has an opportunity to humiliate Punk, they take it. I don't know why. He's a very talented guy, can be a compelling character when pushed properly, but I guess they don't see it that way. I don't know. I mean, the Straight Edge Society could very well win this match, but even if they do, it's 3 people beating 1, so who cares? Big Show still comes off looking like a monster anyway. And then you got the WWE title match, Sheamus versus Randy Orton, which, if I were booking, I would have Randy Orton go over. Because, like I said, I think he's the best babyface in the company. And I'm just not really digging Sheamus as world champion. Mainly because it has nothing to do with him as a talent. It's because WWE handled him so poorly on his rise to the top, i.e. they just threw him into that spot one day. Like, literally, one day they just decided, oh, Sheamus is world champion now. Surprise! It was kind of like what they did with JBL back in 2004. And, yeah, and I have nothing against Sheamus as a talent, but he just got rushed to that spot too soon, and I still don't by him as champion. And not his fault. That just falls squarely on the shoulders of creative for that mistake. But I think he's going to retain the title here because I can kind of see the writing on the wall. It's going to be Sheamus versus Triple H when Triple H returns. And Triple H will be the one to dethrone him because I totally didn't get sick of Triple H as champion back in 2005. Not at all. Well, I guess 13 wasn't enough. Or what is it? What is he up to now? 14? I don't know. I lost count. But I will say this. Sheamus versus Orton is the best of the two title matches. Rey Mysterio versus Kane for the World Heavyweight title. Which, I'll tell you what, I'm glad that at the SmackDown tapings, they decided to clear up for us that Rey was not the one who attacked The Undertaker. As if anybody with half a brain couldn't figure that out. I mean, Rey, comes up to my belly button? And they're trying to suggest that he beat up The Undertaker so bad that he put him in a coma? Really? I think the idea that WWE would suggest it is kind of hilarious. But turns out it was Kane who did it. Surprise, surprise. I think we all figured that out like 2 months ago. It's nice to know the writers caught up to us. And yeah, again, I can kind of see the writing on the wall here. I think Kane's going to retain because he's got to face Undertaker when Undertaker comes back. Yay! Another Undertaker nostalgia run. Because, Undertaker needs one last run before he retires. Like the run he got in 2007, and the reign he got in 2008, and the reign he got in 2009, which shouldn't have happened. But in all fairness, like I've said before, SmackDown has absolutely no direction, has nothing going for it. So Taker might be the best option at this point. I don't know. But wow, that's bad. Speaking of bad, Team Nexus versus Team WWE. Now, Edge and Jericho have been written out of Team WWE. Whether or not that sticks, we'll just have to wait and see. But okay, this is a team that includes John Cena. It's captained by John Cena. I've already expressed my great distaste for Cena and his character. Speaking of lousy characters, I think R-Truth might be the most annoying character in wrestling today, and that says a lot. And I've felt that way about him since he was K-Quick way back in the day. I hated him in TNA, who was dumb enough to put a world title on him twice. Oh. So yeah, R-Truth is terrible. Great Khali was basically a novelty. He's a really big guy, monster type. It's like, not a talented guy, but I understand. I get it. I get the novelty and everything, but you can't push a guy as an unbeatable monster as if he's been beaten a lot of times, which Khali has been, so why is he still there? Didn't the well run dry on his character back in 2007? Again, I'm just saying. And then you got Bret Hart. Bret. I've said it before, I don't want Bret Hart to wrestle anymore because he can't put on the performance. He can't be the Hitman anymore, and that bothers me. It makes me sad to watch him wrestle because he's not as good as he used to be. And I know his career was cut short after that match with Goldberg, and he didn't really get the happy ending that he deserved, but you know what? At least I could say that in his last match, I could say, you know what, Bret, I never saw Bret Hart diminish. He was just as good as he ever was. He was still the Hitman when he had his last match. I can't say that anymore. He's a safety hazard, if anything else, because he's a stroke victim and he can't do anything. And I actually fear for his safety out there more than anything else. There's no need for him to get back in the ring. He's getting back in the ring on Raw next week. Why? Come on, Bret. Come on, man. And then you got Team Nexus, who... I like the idea of the Nexus stable. I don't like a lot of the talents involved with it, namely David Otunga, Skip Sheffield. Mr. Sheffield! Nah! I had to make a nanny reference, I'm sorry. But, yeah, and a lot of those guys, they're just a bunch of, most of them, not all of them, but they're very green and they're not ready for this kind of main event push, so I don't care. Watching them wrestle doesn't interest me too much. And that's what we've got for SummerSlam so far. Ew. This is terrible. My God. And this isn't even the full card. I'm sure they're going to pad the hell out of it next week. I can't imagine with what, I guess a women's title match, maybe an IC title match, even though they did that at the SmackDown tapings too. I don't know. Like, I'm just sitting here like, I cannot believe that this is the card for their second biggest pay-per-view of the year. I'm kind of stunned. So, yeah, not going to be ordering SummerSlam this year.